Hello, I hope you can hear me. My name is Helena, and I'm here as somebody who is taking care of an estate. I'm myself. I'm an artist, filmmaker, video maker. I also have a festival, and then I have then I'm a teacher, and then I'm also running an estate. And I just want to go through that because I moved to Belgium with my late husband some years ago, and when he passed away, I decided to finish his project that he has already started. And in that time, I knew what estate was, but not really, though. And in the beginning, I was not concentrating on, going into that I'm going to run the estate, but I wanted to finish his work that he has already started before he left, and of course to keep his name around. But I was also curious about, when you as an artist leave this earth, what happens to your work and who will continue wanting to see your work. And it's been a huge learning experience. I want to show you how I understand this program with an artist in the studio is what we are doing in our studios, and they are of course totally different. And most of my time is in front of the computer, and this is my studio. So most of my artistic practice is in front of this screen, a lot of applications and a lot of communications. And I just want to share with you a communication that I had with a colleague of mine from Russia. And she sent me this email, and I hope she's okay of me reading it, because I know that she's going to use this for her synopsis for her film, and I hope she will join us this weekend from Russia. Dear Helena, I hope you're doing well. I'm emailing because my Facebook doesn't work well. I recently finished my new short film. We created together a performer from Belarus, an actress and vocalist from Ukraine, and me, despite the fact that our 3 countries are now separated by a terrible war. From the very first days, we gathered together and lived through the body of experience of our moral experience. Our experiences were different. Anton, who's a performer, 23 years old, cannot return to Belarus as he was political activist, and soon as he returns, he will either be put in prison or enlisted in the army and sent to war. Kaita, actress of 27 years old, is an ethnic Ukrainian but has a Russian passport. Her relatives and her beloved grandmother, her friends, live in a city not far from the places where military battles are taking place. She stopped communicating with many Russian friends and relatives, as they do not believe in what is happening. I stay in Russia despite all of the pain from what is happening and all the anger at my government and the stupidity of people. But I think it's important to something here, at least make your own film. We transferred our experience into body language, into voice and song, and the poetic language of cinema. And then she asked me to look at their work, and I'm helping her also to advise for festivals that doesn't have an entry, because when you send to a festival, usually you have to pay to be a part of a festival. And she said she's asking for a festival that doesn't have any of this fee because the blockage of the bank accounts she cannot pay the festival fee from Russia. So this is an email communication I got yesterday. So this is a lot of my work in my studio. But today I'm going to be representing I'm going to be wearing this hat as being running an estate. Voila, just let me know contents. But I had to take some courses and workshops to learn how to be involved with the state. But the complications of Thorvalder's estate is that he was not only a visual artist, and he did like some paintings. I have one here in the back, and then these are all his books here, and some vinyl. So he was involved that he was a visual artist, he was a playwright, he wrote books for children and grown-ups, he made some music, he made some lyrics, he did some radio, he did some television play. What am I forgetting? He was the president of the Union of Iceland. He was very involved with the artist movement to talk to the culture ministry about having creativity and artists more involved into our everyday lives. And then he was also a teacher. He was very much created his own genre. After we lived in LA, he through one of his books, for example, that you go through a journey of finding yourself, because many times that the art can help you to find your voice, to express who you are. And I think that you need that, most of us. So I wanted to talk about, so he left many things in my hands, and since he passed, I started to finish works, like I said before. I published 4 books. I had 6 gallery shows, 2 museum shows, retrospective of his work. Both of them were running for like almost half a year. And then we did a play in the National Theatre in Iceland. I also collaborated with Mengi and Megas to make a record, CD and a vinyl record with Thorvalder's music and lyrics. And that was actually the core of the connection from Thorvalder coming here to Antwerp, Belgium, is that he studied in Maastricht in Van Eyck, and he got to know many Belgian artists, and he got to be very good friends with them. So he wanted to re-communicate with that network, and that's why we decided to come and move over here. And but when I was doing all these things, I learned so much. I'm dealing with an office in Copenhagen that has rights of all his theater plays. He has around 14 theater plays that are running around the world. For example, there is a short film been released in Germany from his script that I'm dealing with right now. And what I learned when I started my journey to finish this project, I wanted also to see if an artist's work still exist after they pass away? I mean, do you just put them in a storage, and then just leave it for occasional events or like an archive, or does the work still active in everyday life of our contemporary times? What I found out with his work, with the theater play, with the museum shows, with the books, and all of the things that I've been involved with, the television, the radio, and everywhere I go with his work, people are asking me for more material from him. So I started to continuing working with his works. And what I'm doing now, I'm here is a book that he left, and this is his last book that he left behind him, and he finished it 2 months before he passed away. But then he started to change it because he was working on an art book about his visual arts. I mean, you can see on his webpage that he was extremely proactive, and so he was trying to make an art book about his visual arts, and then he was making this book, which is about just human existence, how we can cope with being who we are and using the creativity and artist way of seeing things into our everyday life. And we were talking together, and we came up to this conclusion. And I said, like, why don't you combine the visual art and all that you have been doing, the radio, the films, the scripts, the theater plays, the speeches that you have done, all the commercials that you have written, and combining into like a one book that you can like go through your manifesto, like his mind. And because he influenced it a lot of people in Iceland, and I'm extremely proud, but also extremely intimidated that to continue this. But I'm learning by doing, and I have a fantastic people around me to support his work, and including that, I'm making together a little group I call Þorvaldsstofa, which is community of voices of different people in different positions, running museums or festivals or writers, or people who are very active and knew him very well. And we are coming together like in a conference, and we're using his words to make like, I call it like a new Bauhaus movement, but it's not like that. It's something that we don't know what it's going to be. Maybe it's going to be nothing. Maybe it's going to be something. But all these people that I'm talking to, they all have this in common: how much he influenced them through how he was thinking and how his work. And it's so funny. I find this was on his favorite T-shirt. I cut it off. And he loved to wear that T-shirt. So I just still keep it in his book here. So I want to use the rest of the time that I have is to read from this book. It's not been translated to English or Dutch or any other language at the moment. But my work now is that I'm going through all his text. So I have to go through a lot of text that he has written. So it's about at least, this is just what is in printing, but there's a lot of things that I have on a hard disk. In my mind, I'm still, it's like minimum 1,000 pages that I have to go through. And I think in the end, it will be approximately, some thousands of written material that I will go through. And I look forward, but also at the same time, I'm learning by going, learning by doing, but I have learned a lot working with museums, with the theater, and with establishments, with the rights. Where does the rights lie, differences between to be a writer, to be a visual artist, to be a film script writer, to have music, to follow up who is using his lyrics in another songs, making, there's a play at the National Theatre. It's been running now for 14 years. It's a Christmas play. To follow that through, to renew it. There is a few television programs that is also running in Iceland on a regular basis. And he got a really huge radio play that was a huge hit in the early 90s, and still people remember those radio plays. It was a little bit in the spirit of Mike Lee, if somebody knows Mike Lee, but yeah, he really talks. His favorite pickups of good lines in his books or in his theater plays or in film scripts was when we had in Iceland, we are a lot of swim people, water people. The water there is very cheap. And in the hot tubs, you hear amazing, interesting conversations. And Thorvaldur had amazing memory, so we could remember exactly the sentences and exactly how the conversation was. And he went, when he came home, he wrote them down. So they are really like true to the manner of where it came from. So I just also want to read some of my favorite things that he also wrote here. It was published some time ago with the Boogie Woogie in Amsterdam. This is something called Jokes, and I'm going to read a couple of his jokes. Once a girl was pouring coffee in a cup, but it really was a tea. Once there was an elevator that collected people. Once a woman held a mirror in the one hand and a picture of her in the other hand, and she didn't know what was what. Once when I was putting on my shoe, I felt it was like nothing else. Once there was a man that couldn't fly. Once there was a man that turned into an artist every time he switched on the vacuum cleaner. Once there was a man that thought he understood something completely. These are examples of his jokes. And here are also, I love games, and this is things that I really like that he created these games. Time game. Time game 1. Find out how long time it takes to measure 1 minute. Time game 2. Measure time between this minute and the next one. Time game 3. Start just after it's too late to stop. Repeat it in slow motion. Eternal game. Think about your life in a short version of eternity. Simplified game. Think about every original appearing as a simplified version of itself. B. Think about every simplified version as a new original in itself. C. Stop there. Okay. So this was something in English. But now I'm gonna end the session. I also want a little bit, estate. What is it? It's a very, very interesting topic also to talk about, because one day all of us will be there at one way or another. But also it's like, it's such a gray area of taking care of estate, like I'm doing, and I would love to have more conversations about it, and also the rights of running a estate. And I went to a very interesting conference about estates in Brussels some time ago, and somehow estates also, they are not they are not of course living artists, and they are also something that is not producing anymore. So where is it, and where is its rights? So I just want to put it out there. Anyway, so I'm not gonna read from a book that I'm working on for Þorvaldur. It's gonna be published in the near future, and it's in Icelandic, and I'm gonna end the session of reading as long as I'm on air, and I will just read through it until I will be cut off. All right, so this is the book by Þorvaldur Þorsteinsson, and he calls it Fæstir eru eins og fólk flest. Hugleiðingar mennsku í álögum. Ekki vera hrædd við að segja sjálfsagða hluti. Kári Halldór. Mætti það skiljast að barnið í eðli sínu vísindamaður, en þráir að skoða, kanna, þekkja og vita. Að fjölbreytt tækifæri til eigin reynslu glæða áhuga, víkka þekkingarsviður, en ítróðningur kæfir oft alla viðleitni. Mætti og skiljast að barnið listamaður að eðli. Það sólginn í fögur form og fagra liti. Það þarf að fá tækifæri til sjálfstæðrar sköpunar í stað þess að apa eingöngu eftir öðrum. Það þarf að fá njóta fegurðar í sem flestu myndum. Mætti ennfrekur skiljast að barnið ræður yfir mikilli lífs- og starfsorku. Hana þarf að víkka með áhugaríku sjálfsnámi barnsins. Kemur hún þá fram í sívaxandi mæli, það fær fjölbreytt verkefni og frelsi til að vinna á sjálfstæðan hátt. Mætti loks skilja þótt bendingarnar upp landan séu sjálfsagðar, þá verður þó barnið að fá hugsa, áforma og starfa sjálfstætt, að uppalandinn gerist slíkt fyrir barnið, því lítið þroskvænlegra en ef hann ætlaði að taka að sér að borða fyrir það. Þar sem þetta skilst, að síður ætti við að börnunum sé ætluð störf sem leiðast eða umhverfið þar sem þau bíða andlegt heilsutjón af ótta, kvíða eða eftirsjá. Þetta sagði Steingrímur Arason 1948. Inngangur. Ævintýrum og þjóðsögum það yfirleitt nornir og illþýði sem leggur á og mælir leggur mög á álög saklaus fórnarlömb sín. Þessi bók fjallar mennskar verur í álögum af fúsum og frjálsum vilja. Eða til þess að vera nákvæmari, mennsku í fjötrum valdabaráttu, vana, ótta, vanmats, skorts og lyga, vanþakklætis, regluverks, innrætingar, sérhæfingar og sjálfshöfnunar. Þessi bók full af mótsögnum. Hún skrásetning á reynslu, vangaveltum, hugdettum, fullyrðingum og spurningum. Ýmist viljandi eða óformlegt. Hún skrifuð út frá þeim stað sem höfundur hennar staddur á. Hún líka full af sjálfsögðum hlutum. Bókin hefur verið lengi í smíðum og ennþá að vera til. Í hvert skipti sem lætur svo til að opna hana, lesa nokkra setningar, þó sé ekki meira, rétt eins og þú sérst á þessari stundu. Þegar til glöggunar, þá ég myndlistarmaður, rithöfundur og sinni auk þess fyrirlestra og námskeiðahald. Byggðu á reynslu minna af þeim störfum, reyndar sækja ekki síður að þeir dýrmætu reynslu sem ég fengið víða að mér í 3. starfsgreininni, þeir sem hélt mér lífinu lengi fram af listamannsferlinum, nefnilega auglýsingu og almannatengslvinnu. Pierre vinnu sem sagt. Ég var svo heppin að kynnast rétt tvítugur, nýkomin að norðan í leit að sjálfu mér. Sú leit hefur ennþá engan árangur borið en eins og sárabætur fekk ég ómyndarlegan texta uppeldi hjá mínum eilífðarboss, Gunnari Steini Pálssyni, ókrýndum konungi íslenskra spunameistra. Almannatengslvinnsla eins og margir svolítið undarlegt og þó aðalega óútreiknanlegt starf. Vilji maður sinna því án krónískra meltingartruflana til dæmis lítill svigrúm fyrir persónulegar skoðanir, hvað þá heilagar hugsjónir, aðalega vegna þess að þú veist sjaldnast upp á hár fyrir hvern eða hverju þú ert að vinna hverju sinni. Og alls ekki alltaf hvað þeim gengur til eða hvað. Það ráðabrugg hugsanlega í gangi. Það allavega sú afsökun að ég oftast nota til dæmis sést að ganga til þetta einhver ættar klíkunar og útrásar víkingsins. Það með öðrum orðum að vera mikill prinsippmaður á íslenska almannatengslmarkaðnum og næra útiloka fyrir besserwisser og yfirlýsingar glaðan hrokkgrikk eins og mig. Þú veist hvernig það maður ekki fyrr búinn að sverja þess dýran eið að koma ekki nálægt hinum eða þessum óhugnaðinum, einhverjum illa innrættum stór fyrirtæki eða svikulum stjórnmálaefni, en maður lentur í verkefni fyrir þennan sama aðila. Framan af árum vegna kross-eigna tengsla auðvitað, þannig að eftir að hafa sinnt hugmynda og textavinnu með nokkrum hléum á bráðum 30 ár ég orðið vel meðvitaður hina mikla sannleika í orðum séra Hallgríms Péturssonar í Passíusálmunum, þar sem hann segir Pílatus keisara, þetta helst nú varast vann, varð þó að komast yfir hann. Það athyglisvert að líta tilbaka og uppgötva störf mín sem texta og hugmyndasmiður hjá auglýsinga- og PR-fyrirtækjum hafa rétt alls ekki ótryggðum en samtengt, frjálst og myndlist og bókmenntaskrif reynist ómættilega móteitur gegn sljóvgandi viðhorfum skólakerfisins. Þar fékk ég dýrmæta reynslu af vinnubrögðum og viðhorfum sem reyndust mér óendanlega mikilvægt í nánast allri skapandi vinnu og í öllu þessu makalausa lífi sem við köllum hversdagsleika. Það var í auglýsingabransanum sem ég kynnti sjálfum mér og sagnamanni, ólíka tóli og hugsuði vitleysingi, hrotta, trúboða, snillingi, veimiltítu, kjána, svo fá eitt sé talið. Það gerðist ekki síst vegna brainstorm, fundana, erfiðu kunnanna, samræðnanna við kaffivélina og allt á síðustu stundu. Reddingana, strönduðu langtímaverkefnanna eða óprentuðu hæfu spunasamtalana sem spruttu eins og upp úr engu milli okkar samstarfsfólksins. Ég hef sjaldan upplifað mér frjálsari í listsköpun en þegar ég tók þann þátt í að skapa einhvern